Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. You join us here around 4 of the Euroformula Open Championship, and it brings us to Paul Ricard. Under the sunshine, of course, lots of it as well. We're registering temperatures of around 30 to 35 degrees this weekend. 5.822 miles kilometres is what exists in front of the drivers here. Of course, converted to miles, that's 3.630. Plenty of overtaking points, heavy braking zones. The temperature currently sat at 30 degrees, but track temperature sitting at a very high, fry an egg on it, 50 at this point. And certainly at this point, with plenty of cars in the fight. Noel Leone, after a stellar showing in qualifying, once again up at the sharp end, with Simonazzi joining him on the front row as well. Leone following 2 successful collective tests, taking P1 in test 1, test 2 as well, with Juju Noda in behind as well. Here is starting grid. Noel Leone up on top, pole position. Francesco Simonazzi there in second. Bryce Aaron sits in behind this pair in third place, with Vladislav Ryabov in his first appearance since testing pre-season there alongside him. Juju Noda in 5th, Kian Shields in 6th as well, Jakob Bergmeister in 7th, with Attia Penzesh in his first start for the Crypto Tower Racing Team and Motor Park this weekend as well, lines up in 8th place. Nevertheless, you join us here, like I said, under these very harsh temperatures, certainly in those that I was alluding to. Noel Leone going fastest in the first 2 collective tests. Juju Noda second in that fray as well. Jakob Bergmeister, though, improving into that top 4 in the collective test after a tricky first one, managing to find the pace yet again as we made our way into the second collective test. It's going to be interesting. We'll find out together who's going to come out on top. My name is, of course, George Morgan. Joining me in the commentary box, as always, it's the one, the only, Chris Stevens.
Hey, George. 50-degree track temperature out there at the moment. I'm very grateful to be in the commentary box rather than out there in this searing heat. What is that going to do to these tyres? They are not the longest lasting out there at the best of times. They do need a bit of management throughout the race, and particularly with these temperatures we're going to see there's so much thermal deg we've got to look out for. And we understand that Juju Noda, starting in 5th place, has 3 new sets of tyres to use for these 3 races, whereas most of the other drivers are going to have to run a mixed set of new and old at some point in the weekend. Noel Leone, I imagine, will be on the new sets for this race, given that he's starting on pole position. Left it late to set that pole position time in qualifying, but got the job done nonetheless.
Yeah, it was superb to watch, and obviously the whole tyre compound situation could be the catalyst of this race weekend. Obviously, given the fact that the temperatures are as high as they are, it's the drivers who have essentially conserved their usage, I would say, in the early stages of the weekend. We might see a few other drivers flourish when we head through to the Sunday, Chris.
Yeah, so there's still some very aggressive warm-up tactics going on here, though. The drivers lighting up the rear tyres on the way to those penultimate 2 corners. And yeah, for Noel Leone, he's coming off the back of 3 race wins so far this season. He'd dearly love to make it a 4th. He's got a very healthy lead in the championship at the moment of some 43 or 42 points, I should say. So he's got very little to lose out there.
Yeah, it certainly does so. Noel Leone lining up in grid position 1, as he has done so on the last 2 occasions in qualifying, certainly at Hungaroring, where he managed to do exactly the same on the lead up to race 1, did exactly the same at Spa-Francorchamps as well, and this time getting his 3rd successive pole position here after qualifying, which is a stellar record to have, certainly as far as he's concerned, and obviously leading the championship at this point on 174 is going to prove to be very useful as he comes into this weekend's action. Of course, Bryce Aaron not too far behind either. One good weekend is all he requires as we get set. And certainly getting off the line as well. All the lights have gone out, and it is pedal to the metal here at Paul Ricard. Getting off the line very well. Francesco Simonazzi already lurching on Noel Leone now as they make their way in towards turn 1. In behind as well, Vladislav Ryabov in his first race here for Crypto Tower. Managing to move his way through now is Simonazzi. First place now for the BVM car, who certainly does suit this track, given his very physical style. Jumps ahead now, Noel Leone takes the lead of the race as we see more action further down, Chris. Very, very, very helter-skelter start.
Brilliant stuff from Simonazzi right around the outside of the first corner, brilliantly taking the lead, and that has given Noel Leone something to think about in this race, and good job avoiding the cars at the rear of the field for the staller on the grid.
Yeah, certainly has done indeed. Certainly the fans were left watching on as Simonazzi cruised through on the outside. The BVM team obviously celebrating successes this season, improvements on last year as well. Simonazzi, who would take his first win of his Euroformula campaign last season at Red Bull Ring, is now looking to try and perhaps take the advantage here. Just look at him, getting that tail out again as he loves to do so every weekend. And certainly here, I'd imagine he'd be able to do that a lot easier here on the very hot track here at Paul Ricard. Certainly these tyres need to be nurtured, they need to be looked after. Can Simonazzi do just that? Leon is still right on his tail here. We could be in for a very interesting fight as Juju Noda now comes under pressure now as she's being joined by Kian Shields, who has to look down the inside, heading through Scene Corner, wasn't quite able to make the move.
So it was Bryce Aaron who was stalled on the grid because he's dropped down into last position. Yeah, again, good job from everyone to avoid it. Obviously, we saw quite a nasty incident at Spa when reverse grip pole sitter didn't get away, but they managed to avoid it. And now we're going to enter a critical stage in this race here, George, because these tyres pick up the detritus offline so easily, and you're going to have to go offline at some point to make a move. But you're going to lose grip in doing so, and it affects these tyres, I think, more than most other championships we'll end up talking about, particularly this weekend. But no, Leon is hoovering up this slipstream here from Francesco Simonazzi up the inside of the first corner. Now Simonazzi going to try and brave this one out. He does indeed. So he's able to hang it out around the outside and hangs on to the lead for now. And again, they're going to be picking up that rubber offline. Little look up the inside there, a little distracting maneuver to try and scare Simonazzi off the road, but you're not going to do that in a hurry. And Simonazzi once again getting the tail wagging big time, as we often see him doing.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. Simonazzi managing to defend brilliantly against Adam Noliano, who had a look down the inside of turn 1, wasn't able to manufacture the move heading through turn 2. Simonazzi shutting the door. We do have a battle though for 4th place. Juju Noda certainly working hard to try and regather the positions. Currently sat 2nd in that rookie classification here in this race alone. She's currently now being pursued now by Jakob Bergmeister, who has a look down the inside as well once again as they head through that Mistral chicane. Of course, does open an opportunity for overtaking as well, and if you can get that exit speed heading out of the chicane as well and lead it through towards Scene Corner heading through turn 10, it does provide you with that chance as well as they now make their way through that specific curb now. Indeed, Simonazzi still leading the way. In behind, Leon in 2nd with Ryabov in 3rd, his first official start in this series this season, now following on from that pre-season test that he had as well with the Motor Park team. Ryabov himself looking to obviously try and marshal in a great performance of his own since joining the team itself. Of course, coming in, various karting championship performances back in 2019 and 20, Spanish F4 3 podiums, finishing P8 in the championship, taking part in the F4 UAE trophy race, and back in 2022 last year, competing in the F4 UAE and the Spanish F4 as well. But making a step up here into an F3 chassis here in the Dallara 320 as well, that these drivers know and love, and does produce great racing too.
Certainly does, and Juju Noda here coming under a bit of pressure from Jakob Bergmeister and Bryce Aaron. So he's picked up a place after that stall earlier on, as Attila Penzes bringing up the rear. Bergmeister trying to get around the outside. This, of course, the two contenders in the rookie championship going toe-to-toe here between Bergmeister and Noda. And Noda had a bit of a breakthrough weekend at the Hungaroring, taking her first podium overall, and very nearly her first win as well, were it not for some last lap contact with Josh Mason it was back then, but he's not with us this weekend.
No, not at all. And there in behind, you can now see them looking to try and get past Noda. Noda trying to defend as best she can. Obviously currently sat in 5th place with Bergmeister now hovering all over behind the Noda racing car. 3/10 now, the gap in between them now as the fastest lap is obtained by Kian Shields here with 13 laps still to go. 2 laps have passed now. We're now going to make our way very shortly into the 3rd. Simonazzi still in charge. Leon there in 2nd as well in behind. Leon, who has led the championship prosaically right through this campaign, has done so brilliantly as well, heading through after some positive results in the last 2 rounds at Spa and Hungaroring. Looking to marshal the same again this time around, this time at Paul Ricard, as they now head through turn 10. In behind, there you see Ryabov, Kian Shields locked onto his rear wing. Juju Noda doing a splendid job there in 5th place as well, trying to defend against the cars in behind. Has got a queue of them waiting to make moves. That, of course, being Jakob Bergmeister and Bryce Aaron, who unfortunately had that difficult start off the line at the very start of this race. But nevertheless, Simonazzi in control here and defending very well at the helm of Leon.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we've got Kian Shields trying to put pressure on Vladislav Ryabov as well. He's in his first race this weekend. Right above there, you can spot him, just a bit of extra red trim on his car. And Cian Shields getting it all squirrely under braking. Did he even mean to get up the inside there? If he did, then that was very nicely done. But he's got the rookie trying to come back at him on the outside, has to tuck into the slipstream here, and Shields has given him the inside line back. Meanwhile, Leon trying to get up on the inside for the lead of the race, and No Leon, the Mexican, the championship leader, hits the front.
Yeah, No Leon getting that very, very, very decent advantage coming in towards turn one. The battle for third place is still going on as well, but Simonazzi,
Oh, no!
no, goodness me! Oh, big tie up there, heading through the first sector. Simonazzi and No Leon coming together. Contact was made. They're in the barriers. And Simonazzi, there you can just see him streaking past off track there. Has he got damage? Yes.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Big damage. So, my goodness me, Cian Shields now leads. No, he doesn't. Juju Noda leads the race. He's just gone right round the outside of everyone.
Juju Noda leads here at Paul Ricard. Absolutely bizarre circumstances here in the
Safety car deployed.
Goodness me, what a moment. And after that, obviously Simonazzi was trying to come back at him. We'll have to take a look at a replay if we get one, but No Leon.
Yeah, so I think No Leon is going to regret moving back over to the left-hand side in such a haste. That was a little unnecessary. He has been the fastest guy all weekend. He didn't need to be in such a hurry. So this is the move from Cian Shields, all locked up on the rear end, trying to get it up the inside.
Recovery to not only to turn that into a recovery, but also to make the move.
But this was going to end up being for the lead. At some point, Noda's gone past both of them. Here it is again. So Leon's just moved across Simonazzi. He didn't need to do that at all. He would have had this in his pocket if he'd have just kept it smooth. And you know, Simonazzi's been great, don't get me wrong, but No Leon has been just on another level so far this weekend, and that for me is a bit of a clumsy incident to have gotten involved in, and Noel knows it looking at those images there.
Yeah, Francesco as well in the car, just waiting to step out as well, but obviously yeah, they're going to be disappointed because there was opportunities for both drivers there to take yet another race win. But how about this? Juju Noda leads here at Paul Ricard, and with 11 laps to go, we're under safety car conditions, which could take a fair portion, you know, out of this particular race. A huge opportunity here for the Japanese talent to come across and perhaps even deliver a major result for Noda Racing and for herself as well in terms of a championship fight. Remember, she leads the rookie classification, folks. So it's all down to her at this point.
And it's rookies 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. So Juju Noda leads. Vladislav Ryabov in his debut
race win for Ryabov. Jakob Bergmeister
is in second place. Jakob Bergmeister in third. Bryce Aaron now in fourth. That'd be something if he went from a stall to a win as well. Cian Shields in fifth. Cian Shields somehow, in the space of half a lap, went from being in what would have been the lead to falling down to fifth place.
He was P3 and was actually battling Juju Noda, who, well, actually, no, he was actually battling the car in behind. Of course, it was Ryabov who was there with him, and he was there scrapping with Ryabov. Vladislav actually having a very, very good start to his campaign here in Euroformula. Francesco Simonazzi walking out the car, he looks okay. They'll obviously have to move the car back to the garage, but you can understand that it's going to be a lot of disappointment there on both drivers' parts, and Leon having a great chance to yet again bring home a great result. But this doesn't benefit either driver, because at the end of the day, they were both 1 and 2 in terms of essentially the championship. Well, Bryce Aaron's the only man who could potentially benefit off the back of this, really, in terms of the championship scrap. But coming together like they did at this point, Chris, it really doesn't tee up a great start for your weekend.
No, absolutely not. And of course, that then means that No Leon and Francesco Simonazzi will line up on the back row of the grid for race number 2, which is not going to be too much of a hardship with the 8-car field we have this weekend. Of course, No Leon was going to be starting 6th for race 3 anyway, because that is the top 6 reverse from qualifying. And race 2 will be the top 6 reverse from this race.
Yeah, Simonazzi there just taking some water as well. Just see him stood over the far side there, the Italian. And coming off the back there of that, he's going to have to try and reassess and hope that he can get himself back and ready for race 2 that will be coming up over the course of the weekend. Obviously a very busy schedule here this weekend in the Euroformula Open Championship. Of course, GT Sport here this weekend with the International GT Open as well as the GT Cup Open as well. Of course, heading into tomorrow's action, we do still have 2 more Euroformula races to bring you as well. We come back live again at 11:10 for race 2, and then you'll be back with us again for the final race of the day. That, of course, being 6:25 when we go racing for the Euroformula Open Championship as well. And that'll, of course, decide who wins race 3. But nevertheless, because obviously he has a little bit of work to do now, and he's second in the championship, this could really levy him closer to Noel Leon.
It could well do. Obviously, Noel Leon's advantage is pretty healthy, but it is Bryce Aaron who's second in the standings, and this could be just what the American needs to get back on the tail of Noel Leon, as we see another replay of the incident. I mean, there was space for both of them there.
Yeah, quite an incident there, and obviously I'd imagine there'll be a lot of conversations afterwards in both garages. I will say, from our view, I mean, Simonazzi didn't have a lot of room to go anywhere else, really.
No.
And unfortunately, it's led to this incident.
No, he's not up against the line or anything, but still, Noel Leon's, he's not stupid. He knows he needs to be aware of where his rival is. Probably Simonazzi was in his blind spot because they believe it or not, they do exist on these cars. Yeah, just in a bit too much of a hurry to get back to the racing line there.
Yeah, obviously the track limits at this circuit have been tested this weekend. We have seen it a little bit in qualifying as well, and this is no different. And it will be investigated after the race as well. We got confirmation from race control that incident involving cars 84, that of course being Francesco Simonazzi, and 19 belonging to Noel Leon. That will be looked at after the race. So we'll have to wait and see if there's certainly any summary after that. We'll have to wait and see. But we've still got 10 laps left, and obviously the safety car now making its way around the track. Juju Noda will take them through yet again. Vladislav Ryabov, we spoke about his rise now to this season, certainly joining the Motorpark team and being part of this group as well. Obviously comes in with a rich pedigree. They speak very highly of him in the Motorpark team, and now being certainly held with a charge up at the front end, given a chance here to perhaps challenge Juju Noda for a race win will certainly be on his mind, and certainly showing a great deal of pace already this weekend. I'm sure will go a long way for him. Of course, we look at Juju Noda's performances in recent years. He's obviously taken part in the Lucas Oil Winter Race Series back in 2019, a win in the Danish F4 with 3 poles, 4 podiums, finishing P6 in that championship. And back in 2021, she would also take 2 wins in the Danish F4 in 2021, finishing P7 in that championship with 8 podiums, 2 poles to boot. And since then, securing wins and 3 podiums in the Drexler Automotive F3 Cup. That was this year as well. And an F2000 Italian Formula Trophy, 2 podiums in that championship this year as well. So is capable of getting the big results. The big question here, can she get herself a win here in Euroformula overall?
Yeah, well, we talked about that breakthrough weekend in Budapest, and it was her first podium last time out, and so nearly that race win, were it not for that last lap contact that we were talking about earlier. Just looking at the tyres, there's so much pickup. Just any time they go off the racing line, you see those sort of darker, duller patches on the tyre. That's just all pickup, and it's all stuff that takes well over a lap to actually clean up off the tyre in the end. But this safety car will be good for the thermal degradation at least. They'll have a chance to cool off the tyres somewhat, as it looks like we're going to do another lap under the safety car. Just keeping an eye on the time, because we are limited to 30 minutes for these Euroformula races to try and get 15 laps in, which was going to be a bit tight to begin with, because it is roughly a 2-minute lap as well. But we've just gone over the halfway mark on the time, and we still have 9 laps still to run.
Yeah, absolutely. So it could be the case it might finish under the clock as opposed to the number of laps. We will wait and see. Obviously still lots of changes certainly on the horizon, but still under safety car conditions. And while we are still under safety car conditions, that timed finish is going to become more and more likely. The safety car is in this lap, so confirmation from race control. that this will be the final lap under the safety car. So it's all down to the drivers now to make sure they've got the temperatures up to the mark as they look to make their way through the first sector. And, we'll then head through the middle sector, sector 2, of course, that becomes active after turn 5 before venturing in towards turn 6 out of the Barrage du Camp into the Saint-Barn bends and then down the long straight at the Mistral, where they'll then meet the chicane as well. And the safety car now makes its way through. It'll all be down to Juju Noda. She will eventually become the safety car. She'll be in control of the pace. Not seeing a lot of tyre warming up. Obviously, the track temperature doing enough as it is, Chris. Oh, there we are. We're seeing it now.
Yes, exactly. A very, very clear example there. Track in excess of 50 degrees at this point of the day, and it seems to only be getting hotter out there as well. But yeah, pressure on for Juju Noda now. She's going to lead the field away on this safety car restart. And again, just look at the state of those tyres.
Yeah, they are looking a bit granuled. You can just see them there on the inside, and plenty of pickup, as you alluded to earlier on. Obviously, it's going to be very sticky out there on those compounds because naturally the rubber essentially melts, allows that extra grip to sort of give them that extra little bit of, well, indeed grip heading through some of these bends, especially around here. And Juju Noda not warming up just yet, but look at the cars furiously warming up in behind as well, bringing the field down to a very careful drag heading through towards the next right-hander at scene. And not choosing to advance her cause that much further here at this point, but obviously under safety car conditions, it's just a case that Juju Noda leads the pace. It just boxes them up here extensively. Remember, we've still got to get through sector 3 as well.
She's absolutely crawling along. It's extraordinary. And now she's going to put the foot down a little bit. I wonder if she's just going super, super early and trying to pick up the pace. It looks like that's what she's done, actually. So she's gone now with like a whole sector remaining. So hopefully she doesn't catch the safety car in those last few corners there. But yeah, talk about going early. That's about as early as I've ever seen.
Well, we had an early, pull-up almost. We generally see the cars pull up a few corners before the home straight, but we have had now nearly a full sector at near full racing speed, and Juju Noda now making her way around the final bend at turn 15 once again, and we're going to be coming out of certainly yellow flag conditions into green flag conditions, and it's pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. Juju Noda still leads the way. Instantly now, you see a battle further back as Ryabov and Bergmeister come together, and Bergmeister going the long way around in towards turn 1. Is he going to be able to get P2? He runs side by side, sitting with his teammate. It's Bergmeister now up into second place. Ryabov moved down into third as well. Bryce Aaron watching all this unfold as well. Now, while they're squabbling, Bryce Aaron now going for the move here as well. Third place on the plate. Is he going to hold on to it? He's going to force him out wide, no necessarily Ryabov under that pressure, but still Aaron, still prosaically rising. Enter Kian Shields as well around the outside. Kian Shields putting the guards up here against that of Bryce Aaron, makes his way through. He'll have the hook through towards the Mistral straight. Great move.
Yeah, super opportunistic from Kian Shields, and he'll still get a toe there from Ryabov down the Mistral straight. Ryabov, he's got to be careful. I mean, he's effectively only in for this one race, so wouldn't want to annoy the team in hurting one of their full-time drivers, but he defends up the inside. Shields trying to go around the outside all over the curb, as does Bryce Aaron. Gets it through on the inside eventually. And now I wonder if that's going to stick. And look at the gap that the top two have pulled already, because these guys have been squabbling. Bergmeister and Noda have absolutely fled the scene.
Yeah, Jakob Bergmeister, of course, chasing what could be yet a first race win overall this season, has taken a second position already this season. Still, nonetheless, a win would taste that much better. It could be a first for him, could be a first for Ryabov. I have to say it, though, his job has been that much harder after that battle heading through the Mistral chicane now as they all come together once again. Ryabov being haunted by Bryce Aaron yet again. Of course, car number 23 belonging to Aaron. That was certainly good value for a potential big result here once again as they come together still side by side as they come through the final sector. Outside line, very rarely see it here. Nonetheless, though, Bryce Aaron, fed up of watching, fed up of waiting, challenges through turn 15. Aaron now ascends further past his teammate Vladislav Ryabov. It is now fourth place as they come together again. But on the outset, Ryabov is going to come straight back at him using the slipstream, heading down towards turn 1. He's now going to run side by side. Turn 1 beckons. Can he open the door? Can he harness it? Is it going to be the door shut here from Bryce Aaron? He will do as they come through turn 1. 7 laps to go. Incredible racing, incredible action. What can you say? It's Euroformula Open.
Yeah, it's quite an Bryce Aaron. Well, he needs to get a move on now if he wants to take a big dent into Noleon's championship lead. He smells an opportunity here with Noleon not scoring today, and he needs to get up the order, at least be on the podium if he wants any hope of closing down that gap in any significant kind of way. Currently 3.5 seconds off the race leader, Juju Noda, and only 7 laps remaining, so still a bit of time to go.
Certainly are. Juju Noda still leads the way and is still keeping Jakob Bergmeister in behind. The question is, can she do that for the next 7 laps? Obviously, that is the mission. She came so close to an incredible result at Hungaroring, unfortunately coming into collision with Josh Mason on that occasion. But have a look at this move here from Bryce Aaron, of course hanging it right around the outside here, and obviously would have had the favourable inside line heading through the final corner. Ryabov, though, instantly had the better run. He put the squeeze back onto the gas pedal, managed then to find his way around, utilised the switchback, some of the slipstream that was at his disposal as well, running side by side, and these two will continue the fight as well later on. There you can see that the gap has been dragged out. Ryabov losing a little bit of ground on Bryce Aaron further up, but have a look at this up at the front end. Bergmeister 6/10 away from Juju Noda, and that gap looks like it might be increasing here, Chris.
Yeah, although Bergmeister's just done the fastest middle sector of the race, so we'll see how they compare in the final sector. They're pretty even Stevens in the first sector, and this will be their first across the line. Fastest lap of the race set by Jakob Bergmeister, but by 1/10 of a second only to Juju Noda, so the gap down to half a second, and 6 laps remaining. It's going to take something here for Bergmeister to try and get in amongst Noda here.
Yeah, 57.559 is the fastest lap from Jakob Bergmeister. The gap now between the two just over 0.5 of a second, very nearly 0.0550 as we now see them come together again, heading through this next section and heading through this next left as well. Obviously still Juju Noda out on top, still half a second the deficit as they look to crawl through the Mistral chicane very shortly after taking the initial straight. There you see in the background as well Cian Shields, who's got Bryce Aaron for company as well this time. Bryce Aaron, who has managed to build a little bit of a gap between him and Ryabov. Remember, that was quite close when they were fighting it out earlier on in the latter sectors. Of course, coming together. Extraordinary overtake there from Ryabov heading through that final corner after he was pretty much done by Bryce Aaron heading through turn 15, but that did not hold back Ryabov, who went hunting yet again. Of course, a remarkable talent, and I'm sure we'll see him back fighting again at the front end during the course of this weekend too, as we now see the cars come through turn 10 at Seam Curve. There we see Cian Shields out on our screens yet again. He's starting to actually develop his pace a little bit more now. 2 seconds, though, of the realm outside that of Jakob Bergmeister. Needs to really knuckle down and try and gain back some of that time. Does still have, though, Bryce Aaron trying to breathe down his neck, but that gap has now since enlarged to a second. I will say this, Juju Noda fastest this time in the middle sector, and also fastest in the first sector against that of Jakob Bergmeister. That gap now back out to 0.6 of a second, so she's doing brilliantly to marshal that gap, Chris.
Yeah, it's still hovering around 5/6 of a second, and Cian Shields not making too many inroads on them as well. It's all pretty equal in terms of the sector times. And yeah, still hovering around half a second as they come over the timing line. At that time, Juju Noda did the fastest lap of the race, but only 400ths quicker than Jakob Bergmeister. But Noda able to respond to the pace that the German behind him is putting down.
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming into now the significant time here towards the end of the race. 5 minutes still to go. We've still got 5 laps left here to go as well. Exhausted 10 of them already. And Jakob Bergmeister, this would mean a lot to him as well to take a first race win this season. He will get a second place should it finish like this, but I'm sure he'll want to taste the top step, at least for now. But a fastest first sector for Bryce Aaron here at this point. Yeah,
I think what's more crucial, though, George, is we've got less than 5 minutes left on the clock, so I think we're definitely going to go down to time here.
We certainly will do. Of course, general time is nearly 2 seconds a lap, so that would give you essentially near enough 2 laps of action plus 3, so essentially 3 laps left. So we're going to probably miss out on the final 2, I would say, before the end of the race. So it looks like it will come down to time. So it's all down to Juju Noda now to see whether she can maintain this for the majority or for the rest of this period out on track. She's gone fastest of anybody in that middle sector as well, a 36.169, which is in fact a good near enough 5 to 7 hundredths of a second faster than that of Jakob Bergmeister in that middle sector as well, and she was faster than Bergmeister by nearly a whole tenth of a second in the first sector too, so she's starting to march to that gap, and it's 7.5 tenths as things stand out on track, so she's gained another 1.5 tenths in general on the previous lap, so certainly going to work here. Juju Noda could be an advancement as well on that fastest lap of a 1:57.553. She's doing a stellar job at this moment in time. The question is, can she take it right to the end with 3 minutes and 45 still to go?
I mean, there's every opportunity. The clock's counting down, and another fastest lap of the race set by Juju Noda, that time some 4/10 of a second quicker. The gap now almost a full second, and Noda looking very comfortable with 3.5 minutes left on the clock. This would be a pretty historic win in this championship if Juju Noda were to get this over the line, and I think the roof of Japan might just fly off if she does.
Yeah, she's a massive fan favourite as well in her home country of Japan. They follow her everywhere, they back her up wherever she goes, and certainly here in the Euroformula Open that is no different. Certainly fastest lap already now at this point, and she looks to try and curtail the approaches of Jakob Bergmeister. The gap now at 1.1 seconds. She's only advancing it here at this point. A 1:57.001 currently at the helm here of the fastest lap for Juju Noda. She is now to the 32.328, once again going a stellar, well over 1.5 tenths quicker than that of Jakob Bergmeister again. She's marshalling more and more time as it goes onwards. 2 minutes and 40 to go, and Noda's on top for Noda Racing.
Gap now 1.3 as they head back up the hill, and Bergmeister looks like he hasn't got anything in his pocket to answer for Noda's pace. Question is, can Kean Shields hang on to this last spot on the podium here ahead of Bryce Aaron? Only half a second separates them, and you know, Bryce Aaron's going to have the bit between his teeth here to try and close in on Noleon's championship lead, having crashed out of this race with Francesco Simonazzi from the lead. That's what's put us in this position of having Noda and Bergmeister up at the front of the field, but Shields almost looks like he's got this one covered as well. He's looking pretty comfortable there unless he makes a mistake in these final couple of minutes.
Yeah, they come through now the final corner yet again, and indeed the timer goes up in the top left. There you can see it, folks. We're now counting down 1 minute and 45 before the end of this race. Noda now out by 1.6. She's advancing the cause yet again, and it looks like off the back of this we could yet see the race end. It could be on this very lap, in fact, and indeed it is the final lap, as it's now confirmed certainly on our timing screen, and Juju Noda is going to take us round on what can only be described as a sensational result for Noda Racing. She's got to get it to the end, but certainly at this point, surely she has to. You think so?
I mean, this outfit compared to the Motorpark team, and it's got a lot of resource, and Noda Racing, it's a family-run team. It's extraordinary seeing her fighting up at the front of the field and in amongst these very well-run cars up and down the field. And see confirmation we will finish on time. We are on the last lap, and Kean Shields does have his mirrors full of Bryce Aaron there for the last spot on the podium. Juju Noda in absolute command of this race meanwhile, and this could well be not just historic but inspirational as well to an entire generation of young aspiring women who want to be racing drivers.
Absolutely right indeed. Many of them who are watching on, perhaps watching this very race, will see Juju Noda now making her way through the final sector. We've also got a fight now for third place. They now come together again this time. Certainly Kean Shields coming under desperate fight here. Bryce Aaron looking to try and lodge himself higher, gets into the podium places. P3 now for Bryce Aaron. But this is the story we all wanted to see. It was heartbreak at Hungaroring, where of course she was undone by Josh Mason after a fight between the pair. Of course, no fault between the two drivers. She gave it everything. She's done exactly the same this time around as well. Noda Racing will watch on in jubilance, as will the home nation of Japan, as Juju Noda escapes the final corner. The opening race here at the Paul Ricard weekend. It's Juju Noda. She wins here at Paul Ricard. An overall race win here for Juju Noda. An inspiration to female drivers across the globe, and it's a first race win this season for her overall as well. Jakob Bergmeister an impressive second place. Bryce Aaron comes home in third. Chris Stevens.
That's sensational. That's just brilliant to see, isn't it? And yeah, like we said, inspiration for years to come, I think.
Well, the motorsport world has put a lot of work into harnessing, certainly, the abilities of young women to try and get involved in racing. We encourage it time and time again, but how about this move as well from Bryce Aaron, who tried to move his way through to third place, did so convincingly ahead of Cian Shields as well. Better late than never. But going back to what I was saying, the hard work that motorsport has put in, and this is a tremendous result for that. Juju Noda takes the race win here and finishes 2.2 seconds clear of Jakob Bergmeister in second. Bryce Aaron in third as well. Cian Shields in fourth place. Ladislav Rajabal finishing in fifth. Atia Penzesh as well, in behind those in sixth. We lost Simonazzi and Oleone early on in the race as well, which led to the safety car. And look at what it's done to the championship standings. Bryce Aaron not able to capitalise on that issue for Oleone and Francesco Simonazzi. 28 points, still the gap between that of Aaron and Leon. Simonazzi still remains in third. Well, she's going to enjoy this drive into Parc Fermé, isn't she? It is Juju Noda who has taken the race win this time around. Noda Racing will be thrilled. Like you said, a family-run team, and we love these moments, Chris. They're exactly why we love motorsport.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just get the most bizarre or surprising results thrown up at you, and well, for me, there's nothing bizarre about this at all. That breakthrough weekend in Hungary, I feel like this was coming. You know, we were expecting it to happen at some point, and okay, yep, it needed a bit of help from Oleone and Francesco Simonazzi there to have a little collision, but nonetheless, stellar performance by Juju Noda.
Well, obviously, you know, peripherals around you can happen. It's still down to you to finish the race. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what Juju Noda did. She brought it home in brilliant style after what has been certainly a busy season for her as well. And not only does this do wonders for her championship campaign as a whole, you've got to consider the fact that she has just taken a race win, but also what about the rookie classification? Again, extending that gap at this point here in the championship. And that will only be encouraged the more she does this. And beating Jakob Bergmeister, who was a stellar second as well. The gap coming into the weekend, of course, in this particular one, 14 points. Have you look at this. Oh, tears on the faces of the Noda Racing team. Of course, a family affair, as we said. Oh, can you imagine? A clap from the garages as well for Juju Noda, race winner here at the Euroformula Open.
And if Juju Noda wasn't already on the map, then she will be now. This is going to be... I think this is going to snowball now, because suddenly there's going to be so many different sponsors that want to get involved now, and this could really be a turning point in her career, because we always keep talking about what's the biggest issue that women face in terms of motor racing. It's that they aren't given as many opportunities. People don't want to invest because it's not a known quantity. And this well could shake things up, I think. I
can't help but smile, Chris. It's moments like this that certainly do make a difference in motorsport, and to a young lady's career who, you know, obviously has worked so hard to build and certainly develop her race. And she is going to be absolutely thrilled. I mean, what a result for Juju Noda. She can't believe it. She must be exhausted after that one. It's very warm out there in Le Castellet. And naturally, as I said, we've witnessed... There we go, celebrations. You are a race winner, Juju Noda. There we go. What a display. And she deserves it too. I think, again, we talk about the results of the GT Open and Hungaroring. We've seen something similar again. Retribution here at Paul Ricard.
I hope they go up to the podium like that.
Fantastic. Oh, brilliant. Clear blue sky, sunshine, and smiles. That's all we need here in motorsport.
There'll be a lot of celebrations. We've still got 2 races to come, George.
We do. You know, who knows what can happen in race 2 and 3, but a dramatic performance, a fantastic performance as well for Juju Noda, and she's going to obviously now be interviewed by Alfredo Filipponi. Jakob Bergmeister, I think he'll take the positives out from that one. Another P2 finish for him as well, which will go a long way in terms of the overall classification. The German, I'm sure, will look to harness that. Still has 2 more races to come as well. Plenty more to come, though. Juju Noda, helmet off, as she gets ready to prepare for an interview with Alfredo Filipponi. We just see him there standing by on the right-hand side as well. A big, big day for her career. P3, it went to Bryce Aaron after that last chance manoeuvre heading through Kian Shields, managed to secure a podium as well in great style as well after stalling at the very start. Jakob Bergmeister finishing a brilliant second as well, chasing down Juju Noda, who could not be caught. And the sensation from Japan has returned again, this time to the top step, and she will be standing by with Alfredo Filipponi.
Juju Noda, winner of race 1 here at Paul Ricard, and you made history, Juju. How do you feel?
I'm speechless. I can't believe it. I still am a winner of the race. Yeah, kind of that. I'm really happy and
Difficult to talk in this moment, but it was a tough race, and you made it after very strong performances in a previous round.
yeah, tough. Tough weekend for me, and Moat Park is very fast, so actually I didn't prepare this interview because
You cannot prepare this interview, but maybe say a few words in Japanese. We know you are followed a lot in your home country.
Thank you. 今でも信じられないぐらい本当にこのレースで勝ったのっていう感じではあるんですけど、でもこの勝利のためにチームみんなで頑張ってきて、正直めちゃくちゃ嬉しいです。本当に応援ありがとうございます。
Good, excellent. Podium now, well deserved. All the best.
Well, I tell you what emotion, ladies and gentlemen. And you can just see it on her face as well. Here are the highlights from the race as well. Bryce Aaron unfortunately getting stalled. Juju Noda actually did very well to avoid actually going into the back of him at that point. But it was all about Simonazzi at the very start, going around the outside, getting a very lovely launch against that of Noleon as they went through towards turn 1 and turn 2. Simonazzi getting an advantage, taking the lead at the very get-go, being hunted down as well by the sea of motorpark cars in behind, currently being separated by that of Juju Noda as well in that midfield, as well as they head down through towards turn 1. We saw plenty of others as well squabbling out as well. Kian Shields sent it down the inside, heading through that particular chicane. Noleon would eventually then challenge Simonazzi heading in towards turn 1. They would come together, and on the outset of turn 2, then marshal their way through. Simonazzi putting up a great defence, a stout defence, as they came through that particular portion of track. We then again saw Kian Shields defending, or certainly attacking yet again, this time a surprise manoeuvre, this time on that of Vladislav Ryabov in his first start here for Motorpark. Unfortunately, not able to battle against him, but a major collision then between that of Noleon and Francesco Simonazzi would see suspension damage on both cars, clearly with both wheels currently off the car. But as the safety car restart got to a restart, certainly we got back underway. Juju Noda certainly delivered a clinic, certainly headed down in towards turn 1. Jakob Bergmeister would be the one to plunge on the attack straight away, marshalling his way into second place at the expense of Vladislav Ryabov, and it was down to Bergmeister and Juju Noda to fight for the race win. There was then a big fight then, obviously for P3, as it all lit up further back. Bryce Aaron managing to move his way up the field past Ryabov for that P4 as they did so earlier on in the race. It would then be down to certainly Kian Shields and Bryce Aaron in the latter stint as well on the very final lap. They would come together fighting it out for P3, and it would be Bryce Aaron to take the podium plaudits after that. But Juju Noda, in what can only be described as a historic performance in her career, as well as that in the Euroformula Open Championship, she would take her first overall win in this championship and would celebrate in amongst her Noda Racing family. And now to the podium, and I'm sure there'll be many scenes of great delight in amongst that of the drivers up at the sharp end as well. Juju Noda, what a proud moment to take the top step of the podium and stand alongside that of Jakob Bergmeister and Bryce Aaron. And certainly the team boss at Noda Racing as well. They fought for a lot this season. And very shortly we'll have the national anthem.
Congratulations, thank you very much.
Well, there we have it, Juju Noda celebrating a well-deserved race win, also taking the rookie race win as well. So not only will she lay claim to the first overall trophy, but also the rookie trophy as well. Bryce Aaron will celebrate P3 as well off the back of a stellar drive, a recovery drive after that stall at the start. Also, Jakob Bergmeister for Motor Park takes P2 as well, overall his second of his championship campaign. Juju Noda will lift aloft the large trophy as well, the overall race 1 trophy for Juju Noda, and the Noda Racing team also lifting aloft the team's trophy prize as well. Not forgetting the winning rookie as well for Juju Noda, and a photograph as well, no doubt to be shared. But what an inspiration she certainly has been, Chris.
That image is going to do the rounds now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That image is going to be the possibly the face of a generation.
Yeah, I think so. And now they'll enjoy a spray of the champagne as well. And Juju Noda's going to take full advantage of this, without a shadow of a doubt. But certainly, Bryce Aaron the first to unlock his as well. A tremendous, tremendous battle towards the end. Folks, we'll see you back again tomorrow. Race 2 kicking off in the afternoon. Join us then. We'll see you. Goodbye.